The scariest thing isn't failure. The scariest thing is showing up as yourself. Years ago, exactly 9 years ago, I just checked, I was part of a challenge and it was about express yourself. And I decided to express myself through dance. And so I put out my laptop, I was in my bedroom, and I had a white wall behind me. And on the beautiful music of Lenny Kravitz, I decided to perform, to make a dance for that challenge. I was mind blown just as much as all the people that eventually saw, the clip that it turned out to become because of how amazing it looks. It was like I was working on this choreography for months, and that JLo herself was my coach. So I got a lot of compliments, and even people saying like, "How did you do that? Like, where did that came from?" The funny thing is though, I never saw myself as a dancer. I always kind of dislike going out because I'm not really a night person. So I never like going outside after 11. I didn't like the whole scene, like people drinking or using stuff. So I always was more like a home girl. Like I loved just being home. And so even after that challenge, which was all about expressing yourself, right? Because I say that for a reason. I moved to Mexico and then I found out about this type of dance called groove. And so I did that every Tuesdays on the beach. Well, not every Tuesday, but often. I even have an episode about that, so I will link that. And eventually, I also went to the groove parties that's like once a month in the jungle, and the founder hosts that. Like a year ago, one of the people that I know, he lived in Playa and he ended up going and he used his moped to go from Playa all the way on the highway, which is really bad lightning, very bad roads as well, on his moped, guys, all the way to the jungle where there's wildlife and there's no connection, nothing. He ended up being there finally, and then during the dance, he didn't dance. He was completely frozen. He was completely scared, very self-aware, and he ended up just not dancing at all. And so last night, we had another beautiful groove dance. And I was thinking about that because the founder, as he was guiding us in all the dance poses, she mentioned people in the back that were new. And she was like, hey, nobody's watching, nobody cares, like really come in, feel free and welcome to be yourself and liberate yourself, basically to express, to really just get into your body and express. And I was thinking about that guy. I was like, he did something I would never consider, like one, driving a moped, second, on this crazy roads here in Mexico, third, at night, and then also going to a jungle where there's no connection, wildlife, and all of that on top. So he, by the definition, is a brave guy and a mad guy, but he showed his balls. But when it came to his expression, like when it came to being in his body and just dancing and liberating himself that way, he froze. He couldn't. And I thought that was interesting. And it would make me think of my own beginnings. Like, I never saw myself as a dancer. And, to dance, you don't even have to see yourself as a dancer, to be very clear. It's just another way of expression, just like talking is. So is dance, so is singing. We can all sing. It doesn't mean that we all have the talent to sing, but we can all sing, we can all sing a birthday song, for example. So long story short, um, last night I felt that again. And I felt like for me, it's so simple and easy now to dance, to take that stage, to feel myself, like to be in my body, to fully express with no limitations. But even for me, it took a lot of, getting out of that comfort zone moments and very clear decisions to do that. And even on top of that, even when I did that challenge in 2017, for a long time, I didn't dance because I just thought I was lucky. I just thought, well, I guess, something just wanted to move. I just never really considered the fact that I naturally am good at it because when you would teach me steps, I get in my head and I kind of just lose count and I just don't like it. I was never that girl that wanted to do like street dance or other kinds of dances because I'm like, I don't want to learn how to dance. I just want to move. And so it's now because of Groove and just showing up more and more for those dance events that I started to really, yeah, it became more natural to me, you know? It all started with just trial and error. I also had to find out that I am very particular because I had a friend back home in the Netherlands. We have King's Day, and he once bought these tickets for me and surprised me for an event for a festival during King's Day, which was a daytime event. But a lot of people showed up completely drunk and completely, using all kinds of stuff. And I felt, because I'm very sensitive and a huge impact, I felt so overwhelmed with all these energies. And I'm like, oh, get me out of here. Like, seriously, I don't like this. And so that experience also taught me, like, for me, a safe environment is so important. So when it comes to that free expression, I'm also very conscious of, like, hey, there's a reason why we want to hold back. There's a reason why we don't want to show all of our quirkiness and all of our moves. But the thing is, once you find the environment where you feel that you can freely like express yourself, then you become more liberated to express. And even now, like for me, Groove, I just do it, right? I don't even think about it. So you can put me anywhere, I can dance. But now my expression is my voice is showing up every day on YouTube. And for me, that was the next little thing that well, huge thing, but little thing, because I talk every day, right? And so I had to also stretch that muscle and that comfortability in myself to show up and to be able to do that. We have so many hidden talents that we don't know of because of the fear of, opinions of others or looking like a fool and all of that. But that's the thing. It's not the failure or anything that we're really afraid of. We're really, really, really afraid of our own light, our own brilliance. I'm going to show you guys some beautiful footages of this event. And this is exactly what I mean with, having a beautiful, safe environment and not just putting yourself out there once you do it. Like even this showing up on YouTube, I didn't do that from 0 to 10. I started many times before I was able to do this. And I had to actually fail, but they were always redirections, so keep on showing up because end of the day, the invite is to liberate yourself. The invite is to play. The invite is to truly be yourself and not care how that looks and what people think and even what you think. I really enjoyed last night simply because I was able to connect with myself and therefore I was able to connect with the people around me. And that is so universal. That is so magnetic. That's so amazing because you start as strangers on a dance floor and you end with such a beautiful union and connection with everybody around you. It's the most beautiful experience ever. And I'm grateful for myself for putting myself in those situations where I had to get out of that, preferred way of doing things and living. And now I can say, yeah, I'm a dancer. And I know exactly now what I like and what I don't like. And yeah, and then I got to know a big part of myself too. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow in the next episode.
And I think to myself,